الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده سبحانه وتعالى حمد الشاكرين المعترفين بأنعمه العظيمة وآلائه الجسيمة. اللهم لك الحمد يا ربنا حمدا كثيرا طيبا طاهرا دائما مباركا فيه، ملء السماوات وملء الأرض وملء ما بينهما وملء ما شئت يا ربنا من شيء بعد. أهل الثناء والمجد أحق ما قال العبد وكلنا لك عبد. لك العتبى حتى ترضى ولا حول ولا قوة لنا إلا بك. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وحبيبه، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في الله حق الجهاد حتى أتاه اليقين. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على الحبيب المصطفى محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه ومن اهتدى بهديه وعمل بسنته إلى يوم الدين، وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك أرحم الراحمين. اللهم آمين. I praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, endless He is in His glory, the creator of heavens and earth, the provider, the cherisher, the sustainer, the bestower of bounties, the giver of gifts, the acceptor of repentance. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, endless He is in His glory, for the blessings that He has bestowed upon me and my family and loved ones. And I express my gratitude to the Lord in words and action, and I say Alhamdulillah, 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 for the things I know and the things I know not. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship save Allah. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Allah's final prophet and messenger, the bearer of glad tidings, the role model to be followed, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May the peace and the blessings of Allah be upon him and his family, his companions, followers, students, and all men and women that strive to walk steadily in the footsteps of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I ask Allah to make each and every one of us among them. Allahumma ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, I greet you with the greeting of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In one of the most beautiful surahs of the Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, a surah that is titled after one of the names of the Quran itself. Al-Furqan is the distinguisher between good and evil, is the object that is used to draw a line between things that are beautiful and things that are unclean. So in Surah Al-Furqan, one of the most powerful surahs of the Quran, that is filled with spiritual inspiration, filled with legal injunctions, beautiful stories, insightful perspectives, admonitions. I mean, you go through Surah Al-Furqan and you enjoy the narrative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much, speaks directly to your soul. I mean, every surah in the Quran does that. But Surah Al-Furqan in particular hits the spot when you read it and you read it again and again. Every time you develop something and learn something. And in that conversation in Surah Al-Furqan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to us about the regrets of some people on the Day of Judgment. وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. On the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the evildoers, people who did not give heed to the teachings of the deen, people who took their deen very lightly, people who were following the Islam light, as they say. Just a little bit here and a little bit there, by choice. If I like it, I do it. If it's too much work, I discard it. Who have appointed themselves to be gods, making laws for themselves, and not deriving laws from the Creator. Who follow their whims and passions. On the Day of Judgment, they will be in so much regret that they will bite their fingers and their hands. You know, the exaggeration of literary expressions sometimes. You know, in English we say bite their nails in anxiety. They're not just biting their nails, they're not just biting their fingers, they're biting their entire hands. وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ يَقُولُ يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا. On that day, they will be biting their hands, saying, I wish I followed the path of the apostle. I wish I followed the path of the messenger. Why did you not follow the path of the messenger? He will explain, يا ليتني لم أتخذ فلانا خليلا. I wish I had not taken so and so as such a close friend. Subhanallah, what happened to you? Your friend so and so, what did he do? Well, he messed me up. لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني. He caused my eyes to be blinded from the mention of God when it has arrived to me. And see, that's the funny part. He cannot claim ignorance. He can't say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. The dhikr of Allah has come to you. It has reached to you. It has knocked on your door. It has arrived at your doorstep. Your cousins have spoken to you about Islam before. The Imam has reminded you. Your social media posts have reminded you, and you have systematically ignored it, one after the other. This, no, I'm not going. This, no, I'm not doing. This, I am not hearing. This, I am not accepting. This, I will do because it makes me feel good. This, I will follow because it gives me pleasure. You have made that conscious choice every single time. You reject the reminders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ. Got my mind mixed up, Lord. My friend. So-called friend. In dunya, got my mind mixed up, changed my priorities. Made me look at the world differently. لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. Subhanallah. Allah says that shaitan is always a traitor, a betrayer of man. Now, whether shaitan here is a reference to your so-called friend or shaitan himself, Iblis, is one and the same. Because the result is the same. Whether it was your shaitan friend that strayed you from the path or it was shaitan, either way, shaitan betrays people. لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. On the Day of Judgment, Allah taught us in the Quran that on the Day of Judgment, God Himself will establish a pulpit for shaitan, for Iblis, Satan, to stand on, and he will be given a chance to preach. Imagine that. And in his speech, shaitan will say to you and I, why are you blaming me? Blame yourselves. وَمَا كَانَ لِي عَلَيْكُم مِّن سُلْطَانٍ إِلَّا أَن دَعَوْتُكُمْ فَاسْتَجَبْتُمْ لِي. I have no sway over you. I have no power over you. All I did is that I whispered in your ears, and you are just like good boys, followed me. فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't blame me. You put the blame on yourselves. I was just doing my job. مَا أَنَا بِمُصْرِخِكُمْ وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُصْرِخِي. You will not come to my aid, and I will not come to yours. We are stuck here together. So let's just coexist in hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and I and our loved ones from that. Shaitan will disappoint you. Your so-called friends will disappoint you. The moments of pleasure are so elusive and temporary, they will disappoint you. As Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad says, the funniest thing about sin and the pleasure of sin is that it is immediately followed by deep, deep remorse. Your pleasures are always betrayed. Because when you enjoy your pleasures and you've had your fun, it'll be followed by regret and remorse right away. SubhanAllah. It's as if that is Allah's way of telling you, wake up. It's not as fun as you think. Right? So, remorse on the Day of Judgment, and that remorse is driven by the fact that that person neglected the path of the prophets and the path of the messenger. And the reason he neglected the path of the messengers is because he was entangled with his so-called friends. But why was he or she so entangled with the friends, so to speak? The answer comes in the next portion of the ayah. Allah quotes the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. The Messenger said to the Lord, Lord, many of my people have taken this Quran into an object that they can discard, into an object that they can abandon. Abandoning the Quran. Such a scary thought. I mean, we're all Muslims, alhamdulillah. We come to the masjid. Most of us pray regularly. And if we don't pray regularly, we come to Jum'ah and we're trying to pray regularly. Hey, I think of myself as a good Muslim. After all, I mean, look at my friends. Friends. Look at my friends at school. I'm nothing like them. I'm much better. Look at the girls at my school and how they dress. You're comparing them with me. Alhamdulillah. I think of myself as modest compared to them. Look at the guys, that I hang out with and the words they say. Alhamdulillah, I don't say such words. So don't judge me because I don't pray my 5 times a day. Don't judge me because I fall short a little bit. Really, seriously. That's your argument? That's your plan? Compare yourself with the dregs of the earth and think that you're going to get away with it? You know what's ultimately going to happen? يُحْشَرُ الْمَرْءُ مَعَ مَنْ أَحَبَّ. On the day of judgment, you'll be standing with the people that you've associated with. And then you end up in a situation where you have abandoned the Quran. You have neglected and discarded the Quran and you don't even know. And that's the funny part. People are like, what are you talking about? I did not neglect the Quran. I'm a good Muslim. I love the Quran. I respect the Quran. When was the last time you held the Quran and read from it? I don't know. It was a while back. But I love the Quran. People may listen to the Quran while driving their cars. They may read the Quran on a regular basis, but I promise you, they have already discarded the Quran. It means nothing. When the Quran is just words that go from this ear, flow from this ear, and leave from the other, it's just words that mean absolutely nothing. You do your khatam all you want. Make 10 khatam in Ramadan, all you want. And you are still considered someone who has abandoned the Quran. Flip the pages of the Quran all you want. But as long as there's no viable connection with the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are among those who have discarded the Quran. That's the irony of it. And that's what I wanted to warn myself and warn you, brothers and sisters, against today. Today, when we are hours away from Ramadan, it's about to start. The only unique quality of the month of Ramadan that made it what it is what Allah taught us in the Quran. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. The month of Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was revealed. That's the only thing about Ramadan that makes it so important and so viable. So today is the 30th of Sha'ban, and Ramadan is about to start. Okay? If at the end of Ramadan, you have not built a relationship with the Quran, I guarantee it, you have already abandoned the Quran. And if you've abandoned the Quran on the day of judgment, you'll be among those who are biting their nails and their fingers and their hands out of remorse and regret. And there's something about remorse, by the way. I wanted to comment on this for a second. You may think that the fire of hell is bad. You may think that burning is bad. But in my heart, I feel that regret is one of the worst things that you could ever experience. Regret. Remorse. To feel that you had a chance but you did not take it. بعد إذ جاءني. A dhikr of Allah has already come to me and I neglected it. I had 80 years to think about it and I did not do it right. What is wrong with me? And then you're sitting there for God knows how long waiting for your own judgment. And every minute that passes, it's like knives slicing through your heart out of regret and remorse. Don't be among those who have abandoned the Quran. And Ramadan is about to start. And I wanted to make a connection between friendship and the Quran. Because it says in the ayah in Surah Al-Furqan, they got distracted by their friends, and that's why they did not build a relationship with the Quran. In other words, it was saying, had they seen the Quran as a friend, they may not have been distracted by their so-called friends. How do you take the Quran as a friend? That's your take-home lesson today. How do I take the Quran as a friend? Think about it. When you go through the pages of the Quran bears great advice, interesting stories, history, memories, experiences, lessons, boundaries, admonitions, everything that you need from a friend. You can spend time with the Quran. You can converse with the Quran. You can communicate with the Quran. The Quran is always with you whenever you need it. The Quran always answers your questions whenever you have questions. The Quran does not judge you. It just presents to you the truth. Every quality that you seek in a good friend exists in the Quran. And I invite you, brothers and sisters, in the month of Ramadan, see, like, subhanAllah, one of the hadith that I just came across recently, beautiful hadith. The Prophet ﷺ says, مَنْ بَلَغَهُ الْقُرْآنِ فَقَدْ شَافَهْتُهُ بِهِ مُشَافَهَةً. If the Quran reaches you, it's as if I've articulated the Quran, verbalized it to you directly. When you listen to the Quran, imagine that Rasulullah ﷺ is sitting in the corner of your room, and he's the one that is reciting it. And these words are overflowing from the Prophet's mouth, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. مَنْ بَلَغَهُ الْقُرْآنِ فَقَدْ شَافَهْتُهُ بِهِ مُشَافَهَةً. If it reaches you, know in your heart that I have articulated it to you as a friend. You're getting this advice from the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, no less. Now, on the other hand, people who have abandoned the Quran, they live this life of emptiness. I wanted to make a particular reference to this hadith of the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in which he says, الجوف الذي ليس فيه شيء من القرآن كالبيت الخرب. An inner self, a chest that does not have a little bit of the Quran, resembles an abandoned home. You know, home flippers, when they go and find those amazing deals, and they walk into the house and no one has been using it for years, spider web, and it's uninhabitable and it's just crumbling up. And it smells horrible. It's just unimaginable how they turn those homes into beautiful structures and then they sell them. Al-Bayt al-Kharib. Now think of your inner self as one of those abandoned homes when there's no Quran in there. And I'm not talking about going through the app before Jum'ah, the Quran app, and just flipping through the app and just reading and reading and reading, not knowing what you're saying, thinking that you're just, adding to your score with God. It takes a lot more than that. It takes a lot more than that. If you have a friend, and every time your friend, speaks to you and talks to you about their life, about what they're going through, and all you do is, yeah, right. Okay, I'll see you next time. Every time they're pouring their heart out, and they're speaking to you, lowering their guard, letting it all out, and your response is so detached and disconnected. Do you think that friendship will last? That friendship does not last. When someone talks to you and you're constantly on your phone, tweeting and updating your social media, right. You know people like that, right? There are people in our lives that are like that. They're so distracted with their phones that you can't even have a conversation with them. They're texting, they're doing something on the phone. And they're giving you, just a little bit of attention, 1/10 of attention. Do you think that friendship lasts? If it doesn't last with human beings, why do you think it'll last with the Quran? If your relationship with the Quran is flipping through the pages, not knowing what you're saying whatsoever, why do you think that relationship will last? Why do you think that friendship will last? I invite you, brothers and sisters, in the month of Ramadan, and the clock is ticking. We are hours away from the month and the beginning of the month. Hours away. I invite you, inshallah ta'ala, to go with me on this fellowship of the Quran. The fellowship of the Quran. Let's take the Quran as our friend in this month of Ramadan. And by the end of Ramadan, you can't go anywhere without the Quran. If you don't have a copy of the Quran in your car on you, you can't imagine. And every time you're thinking, wait, which surah was that? And then you run to the Quran and you look it up. Keep the Quran on your app, that's fine, but what I'm trying to say, make the relationship a little bit more profound than just an app, right? But I wanted to make a comment about the abandonment of the Quran. Why do we abandon the Quran? And here's what I noticed. This is my personal observation. You will not find this written in any of the books of Ibn al-Qayyim. This is my personal opinion. Take it or leave it. Agree with it or disagree. It's up to you. People who understand Arabic have developed a sense of complacency about the Quran. Yeah, I know Arabic. And I'm not just talking about Arabs, by the way. Even if you've gone to school or you're a convert that learned Arabic and you really think that you speak Arabic well, you've become complacent. I've known everything I need to know. I know Arabic. Just because you watch Al Jazeera and your Arabic soap operas, now you think that you know Arabic well enough that you really don't need to connect with the Quran anymore. And so their focus becomes what? I mean, my observation of the Arab community in general is that they want their focus on the Quran to be about the following: memorization. If you have a hifz program, they will send their kids to memorize the Quran, right? If you have a tajweed class, they will come. But if you have tafsir, they won't come. If you tell them, here's the challenge, we are changing our akhlaq. We're taking one moral from the Quran every month and we will work together to change it. I'm not interested. But you give them sentimental things, superficial things, they will sink their teeth. Give me some tajweed, give me some grammar of the Quran, right? But don't, tafsir, not interested. That's my observation. Why? Because there's complacency. They think they already know everything they need to know about the Quran. Now, I need to, do a little bit of tajweed and recite the Quran and asbab al-nuzul and things like that, while the content of the Quran does not exist. Now, people who don't speak Arabic are not better off. You know why? Because they're also complacent in their own ways. Their biggest excuse is this: I don't know Arabic. That's it. Close. Conversation is over. I don't know Arabic. What do you want me to do? I don't know Arabic. If the Quran is not in this language or that, that's it. There's nothing I can do about it. And that's it. They've given themselves the excuse. Everyone moves on. I can tell you right now, most of the greatest scholars of tafsir and grammar and tajweed and asbab al-nuzul, all the sciences of the Quran, were not even Arabs. The greatest scholars in our history, who have left a tremendous legacy that all of us are studying from today, were not Arabs. Don't give me that excuse. Better, don't give yourself or give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that excuse when Ramadan is about to come. Whether you understand Arabic or you don't understand Arabic, make it a point to connect with the Quran. How, Imam? How do we do that? Well, here's a suggestion. Ramadan is 30 days. I will give you a 30-day Ramadan Quran challenge. Every day there is one ayah in the Quran, not too long, not too short. So it's not going to be Hameen. And it's not going to be the longest surah ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah either. Right? Like a sentence and a half, something like this. 1 or 2 lines. An average length ayah. And you take one ayah every day in the month of Ramadan, and you study the words, you study the tafsir, you study the context, you learn. I mean, how many words in that ayah? 6, 7? We can handle that, right? We can handle 6, 7 words. And probably they repeat themselves. I mean, alladhina, amma, illa, all this stuff. You've seen it before and you will see it again. Every day, you take one ayah of the Quran and you study everything about it. And if there's a good moral in that ayah, if there's a good lesson, if there's a good story, if there's a good khuluq, I will say to myself, inshallah ta'ala, I will live by this in the month of Ramadan. So that by the end of Ramadan, I will have changed. I will have acquired 30 qualities. I will have discarded 30 bad things, bad habits. I will have learned maybe 100 new words in the Quran. I will have gotten closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 30 steps. Now you may say, well, okay, the Quran is vast, okay, which ayah are we supposed to pick? I will make it easy on you. I will pick them. Every day, in the morning, starting tomorrow, I will post an ayah on social media from the Quran that I will select, but that's all I'm going to do. And then you guys will go in and take that verse. I will tell you exactly where it is in the Quran. And then some of you will go in and put their comments, and here's a link to a great tafsir, and here's the meaning of this beautiful ayah, and here's a lecture from this scholar about this ayah, so that by the end of the day, we have really, really absorbed that particular verse of the Quran. And at the end of Ramadan, you have 30 ayat of the Quran that are right here. Wallahi, there will be a lot more barakah in this than doing 30 khatam of the Quran in Ramadan. The marathon of reciting the pages. There will be a lot more blessings in something like this by the end of Ramadan than going through the mindless reading of the Quran every single day. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring blessings into our life, to strengthen our faith, to elevate our status in this life and the next. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring blessings into our families and to make this month of Ramadan a month of forgiveness, a month of grace, a month of rahmah. Allahumma ameen. Brothers and sisters, raise your hands and speak to Allah from the heart. ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأصلي وأسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وقائد الغر الميامين محمد الصادق الوعد الأمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وارض عنا معهم بفضلك وكرمك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم آمين. Brothers and sisters, a simple advice inshallah ta'ala today and a simple plan. Ramadan, Shahrul Quran, it's the month of the Quran, it's the month in which the Quran was revealed the first time. Without the Quran, the month of Ramadan does not exist. Going through the rituals of fasting and Taraweeh and everything, without the Quran there is no value in Ramadan. There's no connection in Ramadan. I'm supposed to build a sustainable relationship with the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the month of Ramadan. Otherwise, I may be counted on the Day of Judgment as those who have abandoned the Quran. الَّذِينَ هَجَرُوا الْقُرْآنَ. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that won't be myself or any of you. Allahumma ameen. And I said that in order for us not to have abandoned the Quran, we need to become fellows of the Quran. We need to start that fellowship with the Quran. So by the end of the month, your connection with the Book of Allah is so strong that it becomes indispensable. I cannot live a day without the Quran. It's not that I make a choice. I can't live a day. I mean, someone like me, by virtue of my work, I have to be connected with the Quran every single day. But I have not been put through the test yet. When I'm on vacation for 1 month, do I still connect with the Quran the same way as I do because I have a khutbah to prepare? These are challenges for all of us. And all of our hearts are at risk of the abandonment of the Quran. You don't know unless you're put through the test. And I don't want to be put through the test. I want to make sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses me with that bond and that connection, and Ramadan is the season for it. Ramadan is the opportunity for it. To build a sustainable, viable relationship with the Book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I posed this challenge and I said that every day inshallah ta'ala on social media, I will post one verse that I will personally select with a certain power to it, with a certain angle, with a certain perspective, a certain history, a context that will basically, bring in all types of lessons and meanings and values. And I will post this inshallah ta'ala and I will give you an opportunity and myself to engage that ayah every single day. Read its meanings, read its tafsir, read its translation, read the context of its revelation, absorb it, take it in as much as possible. Maybe some of you will even memorize it. And by the end of Ramadan, every word and every ayah in those 30 will be an addition to who you are as a Muslim, and will be a bridge that has already been built between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I wanted to conclude the khutbah inshallah with a story. And in that story I just wanted to emphasize the meaning of bonding with the Quran. The meaning of bonding with the Quran. In Surah Al-Anbiya, there is a beautiful ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that in the Quran there is a mention of us and our affairs. There is a mention of us and our affairs. لَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Allah says, I have revealed to you a book in which your affairs are mentioned. Who you are is mentioned. What you do is mentioned. The rank of your heart is mentioned. Right? So Muhammad ibn Nasr al-Maruzi, one of the students of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, radiallahu anhu, he tells a story about one of the ubbad of his time, Sahl, Imam al-Ahnaf ibn Sahl. And he basically says that when he was listening to this ayah, لَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. We have revealed to you a book that has a mention of you. So he says out loud, he was at the masjid, he says out loud, فَوَاللَّهِ لَأَلْتَمِسَنَّ الْيَوْمَ ذِكْرِي. Today I need to seek my mention in the Quran. I need to see what Allah is saying about me. Isn't that? remarkable? I don't think I've ever done that. When Allah says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, say Allah is one. Do you say Allah is one? Do you respond to the Quran? Do you react that way? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Do you say, Lord, listen and obey, Allah is one? When Allah says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, O you who believe, do you say, yes, Lord? What? Yes. I'm all attentive ears, Lord. That is someone whose heart is reacting to the Quran, as opposed to someone who thinks that the Quran is revealed to somebody else. It's just not relevant to me. So the Imam basically was at the masjid and he hears Allah says in the Quran, this book has a mention of you. So he says, I need to go in there and see what Allah is saying about me. And see what kind of person I am. So he starts flipping through the pages of the Quran and he comes across the ayat. تَتَجَافَ جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ. Their sides are distant from their beds. Speaking of the worshippers, because they're up all night praying. يَبِيتُونَ لِرَبِّهِمْ سُجَّدًا وَقِيَامًا. They spend their nights standing in prayer and prostrating. And he keeps shaking his head. And he keeps saying, Ya Allah, إِنِّي لَأَعْلَمُ أَنِّي لَسْتُ مِنْ هَؤُلَاءِ. Lord, I know I'm not among these people. I know I make mistakes and I err and I don't stand up in prayer all night. Even though, alhamdulillah, Ramadan is coming and the idea of qiyam and tahajjud is becoming more and more viable. If you don't stand up in prayer at night any time of the year, at least, alhamdulillah, we have a chance to do it in Ramadan. You come for Salat al-Tarawih or wake up an hour before Fajr and pray and make dua. At least there's an opportunity to do it. So he keeps reading these ayat that describe the great believers. And he keeps shaking his head. He says, I know I'm not among these, Lord. These ayat have no mention of me. Right? And then he keeps flipping the pages of the Quran. And he comes across other ayat. إِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ اسْتَكْبَرُوا. When the word La ilaha illallah is mentioned, their hearts are filled with arrogance. إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ اشْمَأَزَّتْ قُلُوبُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ. When the Lord's name only is mentioned, those whose hearts are not connected with the hereafter, they feel disgust. You're telling me there's only one God? I don't want to hear that. قَالُوا لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. They said we were not among those who prayed regularly. So he starts tearing up and he says, Lord, I know I'm not among these either. I'm not that bad, Ya Allah. I may not be the one that stands up all night in prayer, but I'm not among these who are arrogant and whose hearts are disgusted with monotheism. Alhamdulillah, I'm not among these either. So he keeps flipping the Quran until he comes across the ayah. وَآخَرُونَ اعْتَرَفُوا بِذُنُوبِهِمْ خَلَطُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَآخَرَ سَيِّئًا فَعَسَى اللَّهُ أَن يَتُوبَ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. He says, some people have mixed up records. They have good deeds and they have bad deeds in their records. And they are remorseful for the bad deeds. Maybe Allah will forgive their bad deeds one day, for He is the most forgiving. And that's when he cried and he says, Lord, I know I am in this group. I am in this group. خَلَطُوا عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَآخَرَ سَيِّئًا. I mix up good deeds and bad deeds all the time. Sometimes I'm strong, sometimes I'm weak. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong. Lord, this is my mention right here. كِتَابًا فِيهِ ذِكْرُكُمْ. If Allah mentions you, oh, I know Allah mentioned me in this ayah. And for the rest of the day, he's making istighfar, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to become among those who have more hasanat than sayyah. That is his reaction to the Quran. Now, Al-Ahnaf may not necessarily be someone who is the greatest of the scholars of his time, but he was known as Al-Alim Al-Abid, the great scholar and the worshipper. Yet, he thinks so little of himself when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He considers himself among average people, and I know for certain that you and I are average people. We may not be here, but alhamdulillah, we're not there either. We're somewhere in the middle, and we strive, and we work hard. But I pray at the end of the day that we are not among those who have abandoned the Quran, brothers and sisters. Walk this journey with me. Make a commitment to come to the masjid on a regular basis, to pray on a regular basis. If you don't pray or 5, this is your chance. If Ramadan is over and you're not back on track with the good habits, it won't happen, I promise you. Fast properly. Refrain from losing your temper and getting angry. Refrain from listening to inappropriate things. If you want my advice, cut music completely in the month of Ramadan. Just cut it. Remove it. I am not making statements of music being halal or haram. That's not my interest. But it is in the interest of your health, the health of your spirit and your soul, just to remove music from your life completely in the month of Ramadan. Focus on, don't watch television in the month of Ramadan. Don't overeat at iftar time. Keep a discipline throughout the day. Don't sleep all day either. Rather, get up early, go to the gym, go to work, engage people. Discipline yourself. If you don't do that, then you're getting nothing out of Ramadan. If you stay in your comfort zone and less, you're getting nothing. If you don't push yourself a little bit, you learn nothing and you don't grow. Walk the journey with me, and inshallah 30 days it'll be over. You know, khaba man khab wa ahsana man ahsan. At the end of the month, some people will have become successful and some people will have become losers. You make your choice, which group you would like to become a part of. Take the Ramadan challenge, the Quran challenge in Ramadan. One ayah every day that you will study with me. And this is not a khatira or anything. This is just a post on social media. Take it in. Just read the translation. Read the tafsir. Spend 15 minutes on that ayah every day. It'll suffice. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase us in knowledge and wisdom, to strengthen our faith. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish us with firmness on His path. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this day to make us among those who will live to experience another Ramadan, to be forgiven in that Ramadan, to be elevated in that Ramadan, to be blessed in that Ramadan. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who live long lives and to experience so many other Ramadans. Allahumma ameen. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this Ramadan a forgiveness of our sins, to make it a strengthening of our hearts, to make this Ramadan a unity to our ummah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this Ramadan a saving for our brothers and sisters that suffer and struggle all over the world and right here at home. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this month of Ramadan will become a saving to our hearts and souls. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us experience the pleasure of Ramadan, the beauty of Ramadan, to help us shed the tears of longing and through the sweet ayat of the Quran. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us enjoy our acts of worship, to enjoy our prayers and fasting, to enjoy our sadaqah and zakat, to enjoy our tahajjud and qiyam, to enjoy our connection with the Quran in this month of Ramadan. Allahumma ameen.